Hi, I'm OTB participant Tre Hawkins, and this is my podcast, Deep Thoughts with Tre. On the podcast, I interview intelligent people, what they do in life, how they got to where they are now, and what steps they took to get there. If you want to find out what Outside the Box is all about, go to YouTube and search Outside the Box Indianapolis to find our channel. Make sure to like it and subscribe. Hello, welcome back to the Deep Thoughts podcast, everybody. My name is Tre, along with my guest co-host, Stephanie Burrett. We're about to conduct our interview. But before we get started, I would like to say, if anybody has not heard of Outside the Box, type in Outside the Box on YouTube. There you'll find our YouTube channel. Give us a 5-star rating, like the channel, send in the comments because we love for you. We love for what you have to say. And subscribe to the YouTube channel because we need all the subscribers we can get. Now, on the Deep Thoughts Hotline, she is a psychiatrist and expert on mental health. We have Dr. DeLynn Williams join us on the hotline. Dr. DeLynn, thanks for coming. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me. I felt so honored that you thought of me and wanted to talk to me. I love mental health, so this is right up my alley.
No problem. Let's get started. So I see you went to school for science and chemistry. And my question is, did you want to be a scientist at first?
Well, that's a very good question. Like initially, when I started in college, most people who go to medical school tend to do pre-med and they're in the path of biology. And I did not like any of the biology classes that were offered. I didn't want to do zoology or botany or any of those things. So I had the grand idea that I was going to do a different science major uh, in an area that I had never studied before, which was chemistry. And I actually ended up loving it. Learned a lot. Chemistry has a lot of math, so math I absolutely love. So that was just right up my alley, and it was a good segue into medical school. So to answer your question, yes, I think I always wanted to be a scientist. Wasn't really sure which direction in regards, but medical school was probably always at the top of the list.
When you started at medical school, were you into did you want to be a psychiatrist when you first started out?
Initially, I actually wanted to be a pediatrician because I've always loved kids. When my family would always tease me whenever there were little kids around, I was always the person with the little kids, and they were always around me. So I always loved kids, wanted to be a pediatrician. But then there was a part of me that also liked the mental health aspect. Like I really liked helping people. I liked talking to people. You don't get to do that much talking in pediatrics. Like you're talking to your patients, but you're also very busy. So the side of mental health seemed pretty interesting. Actually, after I finished medical school, I went into a residency program, which is the training after medical school, and I started in pediatrics. But then I started having a lot of patients that also had combined mental health issues, and I was able and very fortunate to be in a program that allowed me to do pediatrics and psychiatry, which was like, wow, this is awesome.
Really amazing. Really
Yeah.
amazing for what you do. Um, what is mental health?
So mental health is just a part of the body wellness, our mind, body, spirit. So a lot of times we want to kind of divide out things, but our mental health is just kind of I would say the most important part of a body wellness. When we're not doing well in regards to our mental health, if we're anxious or depressed or just not doing well in that regard, then a lot of times the body unit doesn't do well. So mental health is just part of being healthy mentally, taking care of kind of how we think, how we respond to our environment, If things stress us, being able to manage that stress really well. And it's just as critical as if we have asthma and we need an inhaler, or if we have diabetes and we need insulin. We all need to take care of our mental health. That's very important.
Mental health is very important. And
Absolutely.
actually, we're in the month of September, and September is Suicide Prevention Month.
That's absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's just critical. And I think, you doing this is like really great because we need to all be advocates of people being well. And a lot of times people don't want to recognize mental health as being something important. We all, have heard people say, oh, don't be depressed, just don't think about sad things. But the reality is, just because we can't see it doesn't mean that those things don't exist and they're not impairing to other people. So you doing this opens up the door for other people to talk about mental wellness, mental health issues, and getting the help they need.
Yes, I tell you, Dylan, 2020 was a difficult year for us. I mean, you had the coronavirus and stuff. I want to get to that right now. So in 2020, did you have any big plans that you were going to do? And did you still work in 2020? Because the whole world shut down. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of remember maybe not the day, but it was kind of where I was. Some girlfriends and I, we used to do boxing, and we were at our boxing class, and we were kind of like, things are getting really bad. Maybe we shouldn't be out here because it kind of seems like whatever's going on is really bad. And I think that was like maybe in the early part of March, and a couple of weeks later, then we had the shutdown. And I would say that probably did have some plans. Usually, our family, we do like the holidays with my in-laws in Florida. We usually go on a summer vacation. So we had plans, but we definitely, had to do the shutdown just like everybody. Initially, I was like, this is great. I don't have to go anyplace. I love it. But we still had to make sure that we were able to take care of our patients. So the wonderful thing about mental health is we were able to go right into a virtual platform. So we were able to like have almost immediate contact with our patients. Initially, we started just with phone visits, but as soon as we got the platform set up, we were doing video visits within a couple of months, and we really never skipped a beat. Like our patients were being seen and they were engaging, and we were able to continue to give them the care that they needed, whether it was medication or therapy. And so we really worked it out really well. And I think that our discipline, it was just very fortunate that the type of work that I do in mental health, we were able to really just kind of facilitate that pretty quickly.
So the patients that you saw in 2020, what were their moods like and how were they feeling? Well, actually, let me back up for a moment. I'll hit on that in a moment. But I have to ask this question. Like, if you ever feeling down, if you're struggling with mental health, what are some things that you can cope with? What are some coping skills that you can do?
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, sometimes we can, just have like the blues or be melancholy, just a little bit down. And there are a lot of things that we can do. I tell people, and this is pretty much if you asked any of my patients, they would say, I always say the same things. There are like physical things and behavioral things that we can do right away that will definitely boost our mood and lessen our anxiety. Sleeping well, that is really important. Getting, anywhere between 7 to 9 hours of sleep on average, that is critical. When we sleep well, the body is restored because at nighttime, the body is doing all of these different chemical reactions, repairing cells, helping with memory, production of, different enzymes and hormones and different things like that. So it's really critical. Eating well, making sure you don't skip meals. I
Amen.
tell people all the time that you probably need to eat about every 3 to 4 hours and make sure you're getting in good calories. Again, the body is just like, any other vehicle. We'll just give an example of a car. If you don't put gas in, the car doesn't run. If you don't put food in, which is our body fuel, we don't run. And the last one I tell people all the time is get exercise. Exercise is so critical. Like when you exercise, your body, literally makes like happy hormones that really helps with regulating your mood and anxiety. So I tell people off the bat, if you have just like some mild anxiety, some mild depression, those are very easy things to do. Other ways to cope is just make sure that you're not isolating yourself. Make sure that you're talking to people if you're feeling down. Don't bottle it all up. If you find things that bring you joy, then do those things. So if you like art, if you like music, if you like running, if you like baking cakes or doing things like that, then do those things, because those can also be natural ways to kind of help you cope when you're not feeling well. So those are just like, to me, just like really simple things that everybody can do to kind of help to cope with not feeling well.
Dr. DeLynn Williams joins us right now. Let me get back to 2020. Your patients that you saw, I'm curious to know, how were they feeling? What were their moods like? And how are you feeling?
Well, kind of a mixture. I'd say that some people were really scared, like they just didn't know what was going on. Some people who are like really social people who really get their energy from being around a lot of other people felt really isolated as the months went on, and they just didn't know how long this was going to be, and they just kind of felt disconnected from others. Other people that have a lot of social anxiety actually loved it. They were like, I don't have to go out and be around anybody. This is totally cool. Um, but I think in all, everybody was just like, the one thing is they knew that they weren't in it alone. Unlike other things, we were all experiencing it the same way. And so we just were able to have a conversation and just say, yeah, we're losing something. We've lost something. We're scared about what's happening. We're all in that same space. But as long as we try to lean on each other and communicate well, I think that would be good. For me, I went through kind of probably different stages at different times. I was, tickled pink to not be out there. And then sometimes I was missing, being around other folks. And so, we found ways to, be around the people that we wanted to be around, that, those relationships were really important. I had like quarantine buddies. So those people who were on the list were the people that we felt safe, that were, good communicators. They let us know if they've been safe or had been exposed, how we would navigate those waters. And then we would have different things. We did a lot of outdoor activities. We, have lunches and movie night outdoors. And so we tried to find our way to stay connected with other people. But in that time too, I took up new things. We started a book club, and we've read like, about 7 or 8 books. And these are people all around the country, and I've done more baking and just involved in other things. So I tried to make the best of a not so great situation and encouraged my patients to do the same.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. How long do you see yourself doing this job?
Well, Trey, I am I graduated from medical school in 2000 and started residency at that time and finished in 2005. So in 2025, this will be my 20 years. And I imagine I'll probably do it for another 10 years or so. I mean, right now, I'm working at 3 different offices. 2 are on 2 of the universities here in the city, and one is a practice out in Greenfield. And so I see a lot of different patients at different stages of life, and that really makes it really exciting. So I think probably at least another decade, because then I'll be getting into my 60s, and then I'll probably be ready to retire, but maybe not fully retired. I'll probably do something else.
Okay, let me ask an off-topic question.
Okay.
Are you a sports fan, Dylan?
I do like sports. Yes.
Are you a Coach fan?
If my husband was eavesdropping and I said that I was not, he would be like, "Oh no, the earth is falling from its axis. But I do like the Colts. I would say that, you know, I don't know if I follow that as much as the NBA. I probably like that a lot more. Um, and I definitely have some teams that I like. My favorite team are the Golden State Warriors. Used to be a big football fan. I used to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. I lived in Dallas for some years, but I'll say Colts are they're okay. What about you, Tre? Are you a Colts fan?
Oh yes, I'm a big Colts fan. They won last Sunday. This is the Victory Wednesday that we're on the air right now. Yes, this is a Victory Wednesday. I know
This
it's
is
late Sunday, but I'm calling it a Victory Wednesday. Let's go.
That's right. My husband, as soon as I saw him, talked to him Sunday night, he was like, "We got to win." So I knew that this was a big game, big win for the Colts.
Yes. Guest host, do you have any questions for Dr. DeLynn?
Um, I don't know if I have any questions, but I just wanted to reiterate again, thank you so much for joining and sharing all of your knowledge about mental health. I loved all of those really applicable and concrete tips that you had earlier about, you know, sleeping well and eating well and exercising. I know in my life, you know, from personal experience, all of those things really do impact each other and how I'm feeling, for sure. You know,
Absolutely.
I've definitely had some days where it's like, you know, why am I feeling like this? Like, why am I dropping everything today? Like, why
Right.
can't I just focus? And it's like, oh yeah, you know, I didn't eat very well for breakfast, or I only got 5 hours of sleep, and it's just the impact that it can have. And then the opposite is true when I sleep really well. It's like, wow, I feel great. So yeah, I think it's just a great reminder to be aware of all of those different things. And yeah, I appreciate your support of
Absolutely.
so many people throughout the pandemic, and of course just in our day-to-day lives now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I totally agree with you. When you do the trifecta, when you sleep and eat and exercise, you really do feel like a different person. So it makes a difference.
Well, Dr. DeLynn, thank you for your time.
You are very welcome. Thank you for allowing me to be on your show.
Yes, one last thing. If you want to know anything about Deep Thoughts with Tre, type in Deep Thoughts with Tre, TRE. Find that on YouTube. I'm Tre with my guest co-host Stephanie Barrett, Dr. DeLynn Williams, signing off.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.